Hello and welcome back to the Let's Go Joe podcast. Today I have Mr. Stanley, Jerome Stanley, with me. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but one of the people that I look to for advice, so I definitely want to sit down and talk to you because you're definitely more knowledgeable than I am when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I don't like using that word, but being an entrepreneur and being somebody who, no matter what, even in your 50 now,
yeah,
so even turning 50, still working towards something, because people think about retirement, but in the lane that I'm headed to, right behind you, I don't see retirement as an option. I see slowing down as an option, but retirement, we'll see when I'm like 80. But introduce yourself, Mr. Rome.
Oh, that's what's up, man. No, y'all brother, nothing else. for sure, man. I can say, man, Jerome Stanley. Been an entrepreneur since I was about like maybe 18, 19 years old. I did a lot of things from selling women clothes, women makeup, hair salon, hair school, construction, teaching business owners how to write business plans and how to implement them and how to raise their profits up by 10-15% each year. I've been doing a lot of stuff over the years, and a lot of, time will teach you what not to do and kind of teach you how to do it with some discipline.
You were saying something about selling clothes and selling things. A lot of things you were doing were catered towards women. Was that intentional?
Everything was towards women, man. I mean, that was my base.
Right.
I knew more women in the street than I knew guys. And it was, I don't know how or why, it just kind of, my life played out like that, So when I was in the street, I always kind of had that female clientele. And it just, when you try to do things more positive, it turned into that.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. So what made you, because you said 18 you started, what made you at 18 decide, because that's a very young age, right? Mm-hmm. And I've always had dreams of financial independence. What I mean by that is like not working for anybody, not having a steady income, whether it's good or bad. I was like,
right.
I just never imagined that for myself. But what made you at 18 say, okay, this is it? Whether you worked for somebody for small amounts of time, but what made you say at 18, because you said previously 18, that this is the lane I want to be in charge of my finances when it comes to working?
My family. My mom raised me always to be my own boss.
Well, straightforward.
Yeah. It was always, you gonna do this, you gonna do that. Now the this and the that always changed, but it was always you gonna work for yourself.
So what was your first experiences in doing it, and what made you stick with it? Like what made you? Because you said and this and that changed. What made you say, okay, that not necessarily didn't work, but that's not it. Step two, like.
Well, I think it all kind of led into something else. I didn't start out wanting to do, like, I'm a hairstylist. I didn't start out wanting to be no hairstylist. I started out wanting to be a barber. And before I was a barber, I went to school for culinary arts. Before I did that, I'm selling newspapers on the corner. You understand what I'm saying? Before I did that, I'm trying to get a little hustle here, and there. So it kind of progressed as time go, and you really don't know your path until you start choosing something.
So what made you stick with hair?
I stuck with hair because it was intriguing, and I didn't know nothing about it. And I had an instructor who owned a school, and I was her secretary, and she taught me everything about the business in the process, and that's what made me stick with hair.
So when you say
it was a money opportunity.
That's what I was getting to.
It was a big money opportunity.
Yeah, because I know, like, I mean, the world's evolved since I used to get haircuts. I'm bald now,
right.
But I remember one point where haircuts was $10.
So it was $5.
Yeah. So $5. You saying $5? I'm saying $10. But women's hair, I mean, unless I'm wrong, I don't remember women's hair ever being $5, $10.
Right.
So it sounds like you said, financial, it made more sense. I'm gonna do $10 for an hour or half an hour, but I can get $100, $80.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, for an hour and a half an hour or half an hour's time. So I don't know, did it just make more sense for you to say, okay, women is the way to go? Or did somebody say like, you just really can do women's hair?
Nah, I was sitting in my boy's barbershop and I ain't had no clientele. No barbering clientele. I mean, I was just starting out. I had no clientele. And the dude that was working in the barbershop who had all the lady clientele quit.
So it just happened to come to you.
And I talked to the owner of the shop. I was like, yo, Jay, I said, listen here, man. I said, I can go over there and do those ladies' hair. Because I did hair for about maybe 2 years and never told nobody. Mm-hmm. That wasn't for me. Like, I ain't doing no hair. And what happened was, when the clientele kept coming and going, I'm sitting over here, man, I ain't cutting no hair, and I can be doing those ladies' hair over there. That's how I got started. And when the guy who was actually working in the shop found out I was doing his client's hair, he called me and was like, yo, man, do all their hair. He said, I'm so busy over here, you gotta do them over there. And I just kind of stuck with it.
Kind of like God. It sounds like, it sounds like God had you in the right place.
Yeah.
So how long you been doing hair?
I've been doing hair 26 years now.
So 26 years. So I'm gonna think back. The world has changed now. I always think it was acceptable, but did you kind of just ignore people that was like, well, you shouldn't do women's hair, or did you not even hear that about like doing women's hair, or you just was like, look, man, here for the money coming in, I could care less what y'all talking about. The reason why I'm answering that is because a lot of people, and you know this in business, a lot of people like I don't think necessarily Jerome's purpose in life, and I could be wrong, was just like strictly just hair. I think it was more like all the other things you bring to the table, but hair was just the thing that started.
It was a catalyst.
Right.
Yeah,
So with saying that, like sometimes people have a way of getting you not to even start something to get to your purpose. So like people saying like, oh, you shouldn't do females' hair, like men don't do that. How did you go about kind of ignoring that and focusing on like, man, I'm not worried about what y'all talking about?
Well, two things. I don't care about what people think.
I agree, 100%.
That's the first thing.
It's number one.
Then I found out if women was like, nigga, you gay. That was like,
you?
Yeah, that was an invitation. yeah, that was an invitation.
It's the truth,
and I was like, all right, okay, well, let me, it wasn't let me show you, but it was about my money. And if you want, I still about my money. And you know how it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're a man in the all ladies business, and you're a man.
They're gonna come.
They're gonna come. Yeah. They're gonna come, especially if you're giving them what they want. And that's really what it was about. But for me, it's always been about moving forward.
Right.
You know, when I turned 27, I was the youngest one in the state of Delaware to open up a school through the Department of Education.
Doing hair.
Opening up a cosmetology school.
Okay.
And that's what people said I couldn't do. They knew I could do hair at that point. But they was like, oh, you trying to open up a school, and you trying to open up a school over there? Joe Biden is the one that put me out there when it come down to how to get the money. He was a senator then. He was just young boy. Now, he wasn't none of that. But he the one that signed it. I had a friend that worked for him. And his paperwork is the one that really got me started. And when he gave me that paperwork, I never looked back.
So when you say school, I just need a little bit of clarity. I have my imagination what it means. So when you say school, so you went from learning how to do hair from somebody to having a school that licensed people
how to do cosmetology, get cosmetology license.
How was that process?
Of what? Opening up the school?
Yes.
It was, man, simpler than you think. Most people act like things are hard, but you gotta know how to. Well, for me, I was raised up by a school owner. Mm-hmm. So she taught me how to open up a school. She sent me to get my instructor's license in Philly. When I came back, she the one that gave me everything I needed to have to actually run the curriculums, although I knew how to run them, but she had everything.
Right.
And when I was like, I'm ready to open up a school, she came in, she closed her school and sat everything in my lap. That's how I got it.
That's what's up.
And so I didn't have to do too much, but the legwork.
Mm-hmm. That's the hardest part though. Yeah. That's the part that people really, to me.
That's what they fed.
That's the part that makes you give up and be like, no, I don't want to do it. Yep. So question then, so what age did you open up your first salon?
I opened up my first hair salon. My mom opened up my first hair salon, actually. I was I might have been about 23, 24.
Yep. How was that?
I quit the hair salon I was talking about.
'Cause that's what I was about to get to. So
Yep.
you started off
In the kitchen, and my mom came and said, "What is you doing?" And her and my step-pop came and turned my whole crib into a hair salon.
Wow.
That's what they did.
Wow, that's what's up.
Yep.
So how did it go for you? So when you started, was it just you? Because you said you took over.
It was me and another girl.
It was just you and another,
Me
so
and
two
another
people.
girl, yep. And we did it to day in and day out. We was in there doing hair.
Right. So I'm asking this question. I think I know the answer because me and my brother, we were in a position when we first opened that if it doesn't get done, I mean we didn't do it.
Right.
So, and I just want you to speak on this. I mean, it was a long time ago, but what are some of the things you did at the beginning, whether it was sun up or sun down, whatever that looked like, not paying yourself, you know what I mean, making sure everything, all the bills were paid, even though if you didn't get paid, what were some of the things that you did at the beginning, or some of the life lessons that you learned at the beginning that you wouldn't trade at all? Because like, I'll say this, for me, one of the best things I did, and I don't want to go too long into this, but one of the best things that I did when me and my brother opened up our gym was having, and I'm saying having, and I mean this intentionally,
Right.
I had to be there.
Right.
Like if I left, he was by himself.
Yeah.
If he left, I was there by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So watching us come work from 4:30 a.m. to about 8 p.m. every day for
Right.
8 months.
Right.
As much as some days I hated it,
Yeah.
like I learned so much now that if you look back, when I look back, because sometimes I do look back, I try not to, but sometimes I look back and I be like, yo, where we've came from, and just this small, like in my mind, small for where the vision is, like it's crazy. 'Cause I know a lot of people wouldn't do that.
Right.
So I say all that to ask you this: at the beginning, what are things that you did that kind of set you apart or made you realize, like, all right, this isn't as easy as I thought it was. It's more than just doing hair. Because I'm sure you did hair easily, but you still had to learn the business. You know what I mean? You had to learn things that you not to do, things
Right.
to do. And what are some of those things that you learned that you wouldn't trade for another Jerome coming up trying to open up a salon?
I wouldn't trade, and this is any business across the board. I wouldn't trade the difference, because what I had to do is I had to be I was a hairstylist in one sense, and I was a businessman in another, and I had to learn how to separate the two.
How was that?
That was hard because I never really wanted to be a hairstylist. I always wanted to be a businessman. So I had to learn how to be a hairstylist, but I never let go reading. The only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today is because I'm a reader. Look, the first time we met, what'd I do?
Tell me to read a book.
I gave you a book.
Yeah, I remember that.
I gave you a book.
I ain't even finished it. I need to finish it.
Yeah, but every time I meet, if somebody close with me, I give them a book. Yo, man, well, I read this book, man. I think it'll work good for you.
The crazy thing is the book, I can't remember what the name of the book is.
It's called, I gave you two books, so two books to read.
The one I
Built
really...
to Last.
Yup, that's the one.
Built to Last.
You can
That's
stop
a
when I
Harvard
ain't read that one.
research.
But the Built the Last one. And if you're a fellow entrepreneur out there and you hear this, go get this book.
Go get the book.
It really, the best thing that I learned from it was so many companies, like just the way they articulated, so many companies before they made it where they are, because every business has its highs and lows.
Right.
But you learn that you ain't the only person going through
You ain't the
those.
only one.
Yeah. And it sounds crazy because then people are like, well, how do you, like, places like Walt Disney was
Yo.
like to think like Walt Disney is
Sony.
Yeah, Sony. But like you don't when you think, because everybody, unless you're not ambitious, everybody to me who starts a business hopefully has dreams. Whether you accomplish the dreams or not, that's neither here nor there. That's what God allows. But everybody has dreams. But understanding that in these dreams, you can get there, but it's gonna be a little rocky. You're gonna have highs and lows. That's what that book did for me.
Yo, and that I'm gonna tell you in the beginning, something I would never trade. Everything that I could do to mess up, I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I hung out all night long. I drank all night long. I smoked all night long. That's about as far as it went. I ran tricks all night long. But I will always get done and get right back on my hustle. it wouldn't be no 2-3 days when I wasn't on my hustle. I'm on my hustle every day. My boys is hanging out doing certain stuff. Nah, man, I gotta play with this mannequin. You gotta do what? I gotta play with this mannequin. Alright, y'all, my boys ain't gonna sit around and watch that.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna lie.
No, but my boys to this day be like, man, I just don't believe you did that. But now, this is 20 years later. This is me looking back saying, Dad, I'm glad I stuck with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I stuck with that.
Yeah.
And I done lost everything twice. I mean, everything. I done came in right here in this room in the city saying, yo, this is inhabitable.
You had to redo.
I had to redo the whole thing. I just built it all up. So all right, hey, we got to rebuild it. So it's the confidence that you get over time. You know, like you said, man, some people make it, some people don't. Y'all ain't gonna never not make it because y'all ain't gonna never quit trying.
Yeah, no other option.
Yo, what we gonna do? Not eat? What we gonna do?
I was telling my wife that the other day. She was saying, because she was not complaining, and she gonna be mad I said this, but it wasn't so much that she was complaining, but she was talking about, so she, I just had a son, you know that.
Right.
And she breastfeeds. So she be having to get up sometimes 4 in the morning. She's like, yeah, man, I gotta get up, but my son gotta eat. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because when you be complaining sometimes like, well, you really ain't gotta go in, y'all got enough staff. I'm like, nah, I gotta go in, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I'm like, but the same mindset you have about little Joe is the same exact approach. I take it to this, and after I said it, it's crazy because she was like, she just shut up. Like she just, not saying shut up like be smart, but she was like, I don't think she thought of it that way, and it sounds crazy to think that you didn't think of it that way, but it's like, if he gotta eat and you trying to do the same for your family now, unless you got a 3-month-old son, she's like, wow. Like, I don't think she thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But what happened, if something happened, what made you say, okay, I need to focus more on the business side than the actual doing hair side?
Being broke.
Explain.
I got to a point early on in the beginning, I wanted to make the next move. I wanted to buy some property. And I knew nothing about buying property at that point. And the mortgage guy said, well, you own your own business. I need P&L statements. I need this. I need that. And you got to be able to show your taxes. You got to be able to show your credit. And I had did all that work, did all that hustling, had money on the table, and couldn't do nothing. So the dude said, you broke. Because you don't have the requirements to go to the next level that you came to me and asked. Mm-hmm. So that made me start looking at, okay, well, what are these requirements? And the first thing is you got a minimum of 2 years. And if it took you 5 years to get in debt, it's going to take you about 5 years to get out of debt unless you pull something out of the hat. Mm-hmm. And then you got to be able to run put everything in order according to your taxes, according to with the money that you put in the bank, according to how you spend your money, how you do your cash. We need a record of everything. And at that point, I didn't realize I was broke on paper, but I had actual cash. Mm-hmm. Then I had to go from having cash to having money on paper, and that's what disciplined me. Because I don't like being told I can't do something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Especially something I want to do. You know what I mean? So, all right, well, thanks for dissing me because now I know what to do now. And I already know that this apple tree not going to grow in 6 months. I got to actually plant the seed. I got to let the tree grow. Then after the tree grow, now I got to get an apple. And then I got to make the apple pies and keep all the seeds. And then I got to plant them again in order for me to get what I'm talking about wanting to have. Now, do I got that kind of time?
You want to make it?
Well.
But you don't.
No, I absolutely do.
No, some say, not you don't. Let me say, some people don't. Not bad.
I don't care about them.
Yeah, I ain't mean to say you don't. Yeah. Some people don't because it's like you said, you starting off with a seed. The seed grows. You take from the seed, put another seed down. Like
it got let it grow.
Yeah, let that grow.
You got let it grow.
All these things you just said the word. I ain't mean to say you don't have time. But all these things take time.
Yeah.
And I even heard like people like Tyler Perry said like, yo, you seed, what is it? Seed, you water it, watch it grow, and just keep doing that process. Yeah. And then like you kind of spoke on it earlier when you was like, you started off doing this, doing that, doing this, planting seeds, and it's like they grew. But then you're like, all right, that helped me for this and it helped me for that. But like I said, people don't make. I don't think I can say they don't make time, but they don't understand that part.
Yeah.
And piggybacking off of that part, what made you understand that part? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was 23, we started this business. I was 23 years old. Me and my brother really don't talk about that part. We talk about it a little bit to depending on who's listening. But I started when I was 23. Jerome, tell you, 23-year-old me. This is what I said to myself.
Right.
23-year-old. All right, Charlie, we're gonna start this business and get it going. By the time we 27, 28, we're gonna be in Miami every weekend. You don't believe you can answer me. Miami every weekend. We're gonna be partying. We're gonna be just like living. And women have never been motivation to me because I've never had an issue with getting women. But I was like, we're gonna be able to do this. We're gonna be job this.
Right.
28 comes and goes.
Yeah, it does.
29 comes and goes. 30 comes and goes. And it's like, yo, I'm still investing in it, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
But I had to understand what you just said, like the things that I learned through those processes. I wouldn't trade, but I was learning so much. I was learning how to, like, God took away so much from me, and like, man, that's like, I don't even. Like I told you, man, I don't even care. Yeah, I don't even care about cars like I used to. At one point, that was like top priority. Now I'm like, a car.
Yeah,
They do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what made you? What did you go through that made you realize, all right, it's gonna take a little bit longer than I anticipated?
Well, one of the things that I went through was I started watching my daughter grow up. So the more she grew up, the more our relationship was better. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, she ain't at this age no more. She at this age now, but she want more stuff. Oh, she's at this age now, and I can't be this guy that I was over here because she can now see me. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I was acting a fool over here, she don't know. She can't. She might say something here and there, but that don't mean nothing. She go over here, I still act up. But when she get here, oh, she got full eyes on me. So let me tighten up. So every time, you know, one of my kids got to a certain point, it made me automatically do something different. It was never the chicks. It was always the kids. Look, like I told you, I said, hey man, when you said, how old is that girl in that picture? Well, how old was you in that picture? Oh, that picture there remind me when I bought this place. I can look at every last one of my kids and be like, yo, I did that during that time. Because that's kind of how I mark my timing. But what kind of keep me motivated, I like winning. And when I'm losing, I kind of feel like I'm still winning.
Yeah, that's a good
you know what I
motivation.
mean? Like, oh man, I messed this up real bad. Okay, now I know what to do. And I think that's how fools become wise, because you gotta know what not to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I done messed up a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't burn a gang of bridges. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I done did all that. But I had to learn. Sometimes you gotta apologize. Sometimes you gotta get things right. Because most of the time you doing stuff that hurt your own future. You know what I'm saying? And then as I had to learn how to do that, and don't let me forget the fact that the whole time I'm fighting with this Christian thing. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, okay, God's gonna do all these things that I heard God gonna do, but what part am I supposed to play? So I had to learn that also. Like in the midst of everything, I had to learn, okay, there's certain things God do, and there's certain things I gotta do. Like if I want God to help me do something, I gotta do the groundwork. But believing is the groundwork. You know what I'm saying?
That's the time part too.
Yeah, it's the groundwork. And then when you get to a point where something's not working, see, the hard part for me is I was trying to make it happen. But sometimes you just gotta stand still and don't change your mind. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you change your mind. Now, some jokers I know, they change their mind. Okay, now I want a house. I'm saving for a house, and the bank say, nah, you ain't ready yet. So what you do? You go buy a car.
That's stupid.
Yeah, but
or
some
just
people,
not knowing. Yeah, just not knowing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you feel like, man, you tired of doing this, man. I gotta get me. But I was never really like that. I always been the kind of person who was like, all right, well, if I want something, I want it 5 years from now. I don't just want it yesterday. Mm-hmm. But that's a two-edged sword. Cause if I'm mad at you 5 years from later too. Mm-hmm. So that you know what I'm saying? So
that's how it works.
It's your personality after a while. So you gotta kinda learn. I had to learn within myself how to balance out being the person that I wanted to be. Because when I knew I wanted to be this entrepreneur, but my character kept getting in the way. And my pastor kept saying, don't let your character take you somewhere. No, don't let your talent take you somewhere your character can't keep you. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I gotta get this thing right. And every time I was doing something, it was based on me trying to be a better me. You know what I mean? Because I had already, like you said, going to Miami. Oh, we had already flew and drove it everywhere. We had already ran all the chicks. We done sold all the dope we thought we was gonna sell, and it was never enough. But it was like, all right, well, how do we go to this next level? But we get right there, and it'd be a character issue.
Yeah.
So now I gotta change. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, you ignorant. You don't know how to talk to people. Oh, I gotta tighten that up now. Now I gotta be a little bit more respectful when I don't feel like I gotta be, because you doing something to me now. Mm-hmm. You know, but then that's how maturity hit me.
And it's funny you speak on change, right? So I'm a input something. That's a hard one, right?
Yes, it is.
So I asked God. I will never forget, man. I asked God for a lot. And everything that I asked for, so far so good. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize that I had to change. And it's funny you say that, because like you can ask my brother.
I ain't realized it either.
Prior to, and this is just me, how like, if I want something, I don't want nothing to stop me from getting it, right?
Right.
So like a good marriage, I want a good marriage, so I don't let nothing stop me. I don't let, because the only other thing is women, so I don't let women, they really never bother me, but I don't let them be something to stop me from what I want, right?
Right.
Then I look at like having money, like I can't have bad spending problems. But like you said something about character. So I was like, God, like I'm good in my mind. You know, you always say you're good. But it's like, you hear things saying like, nah, you're not good. So I'm like, man, I don't want to really give up smoking weed, man. It helps me go to sleep.
Yeah, it helps me think.
But yeah, I can chill. I don't got nobody bothering me.
Right.
Something I had to give up. I don't want to give up drinking. I only drink on the weekends.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up cursing. Like, everything sounds better when you curse.
Yeah.
This is like self-talk. I'm saying something like yeah, you can't tell somebody, shut up. It don't sound as good as, shut the, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that level of aggression that, because it's not even so much street, but that level of aggression, it just sounds so much better. You tell somebody that, when you curse. Like, that's really how I thought. But I never had conviction about smoking weed, drinking. It didn't even take a pastor to say this. Just, I would go to church and I'd be like, I'm good. I got a Bible, I read it on Sundays. Really wasn't a big issue. I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to heaven. I'm good. I'm great.
Right.
I'm still cursing, still drinking, still doing what I want, still smoking. But it was like, I started feeling convicted about things. I'm like, where's this conviction coming from? And the crazy thing is, I didn't really start feeling convictions. Instead, I started reading my Bible myself. Mm-hmm. I'm going somewhere with this. Right. So I say all that to say this. You were saying something about character changes. It's like I prayed God. I can close my eyes and vividly with the full like imagination, whatever, like picture. I can see where my life is headed. And I heard something say to me like, "You're not gonna get there unless you change." Mm-hmm. And I never believed it until I stopped cursing, stopped drinking, stopped smoking. Because these are things I honestly never thought I would do. I even had my man, when we start getting money, I'm gonna be in Colorado, but you can smoke walking down the street, LA. Right. And these are things that are in my mind. Yeah. But the conviction came, which caused me to change. And then you were saying something about character, because I never, until you actually just said it now, I never put it in words. I just kind of like, it's like, this is what I got to do to get where I want to go. Right. But it's like, I asked God for all these things, and I didn't realize I was going to lose. Not that it was a bad loss, but I lost so much of what I thought was valuable wasn't valuable. Right. So can you got kids, you got friends, did you lose anything through this journey that you was like, you didn't understand it when you lost it? But maybe 5 years later, 2 years, because you've been in business a long time, you was like, all right, that makes sense.
Man, I done lost so much stuff that you want. I done lost a wife. I done lost I ain't never lose no crib or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I lost my first brand new car. I done lost so much. But I've gained way more than what I lost. And the stuff that I lost, I realized I ain't need anyway. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even for me. I lost it. Like, now I sit back and look at it like, damn, I should have never did that shit in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of it all, what I meant by like character changes, like for instance, when I give you one that I'm going through right now. I've been in business, in the hair business for so long. It used to be, you get up, if you say you open up at 8 o'clock and you close at 5 o'clock, you're there from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Ever since technology came in, everybody is saying, I want to just make an appointment. So the stylists don't come in until the appointment time.
Right.
They don't come in at 8 o'clock and leave at 5 o'clock. So I struggled with that. But what I've learned is the ones that come in from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, they're the ones that get the long money.
Yeah.
Because they ain't not missing nothing. The ones that come in only when somebody want to come in.
Yeah, only money they get playing.
You're not hustling the whole time you're not in there.
Yeah.
I can see if you wasn't in there, but you was pulling business towards you, you just doing something different. So I had to learn in the beginning how to recognize those things. How to recognize what's going to eat at my goal. Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm trying to make money, because I'm a little tight too, I sit around, if I don't got to eat out, I ain't eating out. Mm-hmm. If I feel like eating out, I'm going to eat out. If I don't got to buy no clothes, look, man, I bought my first pair of online sneaks for my birthday, 50th birthday.
Darn wrong. Got me beat. I thought I was cheap. You got me beat.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I'm not buying no clothes.
You got more kids than
it don't matter.
Oh, it's just you.
Yeah, that's me.
Me too.
If I want to buy it, I'm going to go buy it. You understand what I'm saying? But I had to learn I can't let nothing eat at my goal. And when I was younger, everything was eating at my goals. You know what I mean? It wasn't really smoking weed, it wasn't drinking, it wasn't cussing, because that was like, I'm gonna do that. Right. But at the end of the day, if smoking weed, it's not how most jokers did, oh man, I quit my job because I can't smoke no weed. That's eating at your goal.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's dumb.
That's dumb.
That's dumb.
Oh,
people do it though.
All day long. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got drug test to take. Oh, I'm not smoking no weed.
Dumb.
And I'm gonna stop for the 10 years it requires me to do that. But what about being late? What about somebody coming to my place of business and they got a real problem and I gotta handle that even though I think maybe they're wrong. But they right. My opinion don't matter at that point. What's best for the business? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
my wife come to me and say, hey man, I don't like how you said that to her. I want to know who you talking to. Mm-hmm. But she right. Now I got to be different now because I can't let the next person go. There's so many different things that happens that'll make you change what you got to change to prosper. If you try to prosper. But for me, man, I that's the part that was the hardest part for me. Because I realized I'm not this real cool dude that I thought I was. I'm not this real fly nigga that people that's not trying to be what you trying to be, hype you up to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I wasn't that.
Oh, the bystanders.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. My mentor owned 150 high-rise buildings right here in Delaware. We all be in his stuff, and we don't even know he owned it. But I had a pleasure to be able to meet him when my mom introduced me to him. She didn't know he was going to be this tight, but this joker got paper. And whenever I talk to him, he say, hey, you got to do it like this. So now the standard's high. Mm-hmm. And I'm not at that standard.
But the crazy thing is, like, I don't know. So my dad was like, if you see my dad right now, you would think he was broke. And he's far from.
And he ain't broke.
Yeah, but I learned that, like, I ain't really never been no fly guy, because his father was my dad, was who he is. My dad reminds me of the dad from everybody. He's Chris, if you ever seen that.
Okay.
They only difference is my dad didn't know prices. But I will say this, I'm with you. I learned that like, I don't want to talk about nobody, but I learned that, like, my dad used to say, if you look like you got money, you ain't got money.
You ain't got enough.
And that's not necessarily true in the world we live in now, but it's going to stick with me forever. I'm always going to feel that way.
Most people wear their money on their back.
Yep. Which is crazy.
When they driving. Yeah.
And it's crazy. It took me to get older and to understand like all the life lessons my dad was telling me. He's like, man, it's too weird, man. You just cheap. But now he called me cheaper than him, which I don't understand how he can. But it is what it is. But I want to ask you a question, right? So you've been in business 26 years. Mm-hmm. When you first started, I want to say probably all word of mouth. That's safe to say?
There wasn't no internet when I started.
Right.
We had to make flyers on paper, get them printed at Kinko's, and walk around and hand them joints out. And most women looked at me and be like, man, you ain't no hairstylist? What you do, own it? I'm the one doing hair. Then I walk up to chicks and be like, oh, your hair ugly. Let me show you how to get it done. That's a turn off. I was just not that dude.
Right.
Yeah, I was so glad when Google came about, I didn't know what to do because I ain't had to talk to people at that point.
So how'd you transition from that? Because, like, I was fortunate enough to always have social media.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Before, I can't even say before, like, when we first started, we had the pleasure of having access to people.
Right.
So how do you transfer from access that way, like here, come try it, to being able to take a picture and say, look, this is my work.
Relationship.
Oh, for real?
Yep. I was fortunate to be able to be around professional people. One thing I was always around professional people. And I always asked them, hey, how you doing? What you do? You know what I mean? How long you been doing that? I'm that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. So when I find out what you doing, how you doing, usually people don't want to talk about themselves.
No, they don't.
They tell you all they just let you talk about themselves. And I like to listen. Mm-hmm. So then that allowed me to know who's who that's around me. So we sitting in here, yo, that's so-and-so, she do that. And it's so-and-so, they do that. Because you never know who needs somebody. I might not need you, but hey, just like I met y'all, I'm talking to one of my clients like, damn, you looking good. What you doing? Oh, I'm over there with TR Fit. Let me show you. Mm-hmm. So that easy. Yeah. And I was like, yo, I'm in there. And I came in there and threw up. Charlie was like, yo, go there and throw it. He's like, I tried.
What made you start working out? Because I always looked at, like when I see ignorant me when I was younger, I always thought, and this is just, I think, the way it was set up when I was younger, because the world's definitely evolved since then. But I always looked at businessmen as old white men. I'm just being honest. Because like, we were like athletes, football players, NFL rappers. Right. So I never looked at like a Jay-Z ever becoming a Jay-Z. Because it wasn't happening enough. And like no disrespect to anybody, I didn't even. Just ignorant me. I didn't understand, and this is another reason why I pushed so hard to be successful. I didn't understand that you could be successful without being on TV. That sounds so stupid now. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
But I looked at black people like if you ain't Michael Jordan on that level, like, then you weren't. This is younger man. Then you're not successful.
Right.
Of course, I'm not a kid anymore, so I know now that. That's not true. Mm-hmm. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So me saying that, I look at it like that pushes me to like really like be the businessman that I believe God is gonna make me. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to go smart with this. Mm-hmm. So business Jerome at 18, 23 in comparison to business Jerome now, because you say you like listening, there's a lot of things in the middle that made you who you are now at 50 years old. Mm-hmm. How different does that person look?
Man,
you might not look different.
Unrecognizable.
Oh, okay, that's good. I was hoping you said that.
Unrecognizable. I don't even look. You know what trips me out? When I see somebody I ain't seen in 20 years. And they talk about them old stories I done forgot about. Oh man, remember we did this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah. Like, wow, I know he ain't lying. I know he ain't lying. Man, he's crazy as hell.
But the reason why I asked that, because like you decided to start working out.
Yeah.
So what made you start working out? Because like even that's part of like, the 23-year-old Jerome who probably ate whatever he wanted in comparison to 50-year-old Jerome who like, I want to be 90. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sure your goals changed, but what made you start working out? And did business help you play a part, or was it just something like I just want to try something different?
Two things made me want to work out. Number one, I always worked out off and on. I always was in some kind of martial arts. I was always in some kind of in the gym lifting or something. Never really committed to it, but always did it. I also learned that, because I watch and read a lot of spiritual businessmen. Because I kind of felt like you felt. Man, where is somebody out there look like me? And my mentor, he white as all white. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, okay, I'm glad I know you, but ain't no black folks out here. So what I started learning is that, well, maybe I need to redefine what success means. I didn't have a whole lot of money per se, but I got all my kids living with me. I got, except my oldest one, she grown as hell. My kids is in college, got degrees. They way different than how I grew up, you know, and I got a major part in that. And I realized that was way more than any money I could have.
I agree.
You understand what I'm saying? When I was a young boy, when I first opened up my school, the boy was like, yo, he said, I did this show in California. And he was like, yo, man, what you doing? So I got the hair school over there, man. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Oh, man, why don't you move your business over here? This, but hey, don't even go back home. We're going to start you off. My oldest daughter was here. And I was like, nah, I can't do that. You ever hear prepaid legal services?
Kinda, yes.
Me and my best friend now, Wayne, he and I met. We was the third. I was the third. He was the fourth person to own prepaid legal services. Let people talk me out of it. Now, 10 years later, these jokers making $10,000 a month, and I'm feeling dumb as hell. Like,
yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause they tell them, when I originally heard of it, it's like it's a pyramid scheme. Don't do it.
Yeah, yep. That's how everybody's scared. But I realized, like, yo, you got to be able to take chances, and you got to be able to be in position to take chances. So while I started working out, I realized that. Well, you see all the mirrors downstairs.
Yeah.
I'm looking in the mirror. I was like, yo, Charlie put it online. Like, look at this guy, this big old belly hanging out. That was me taking a picture of me in the mirror. Actually, my wife took that picture. And then I got tired of that. I got tired of looking like a slob and acting like I'm a professional. And I'm tired all the time. I was like, what's going on here? So I started saying to myself, I got to get prepared for where I'm going. Because at that point, I was 47. And I think I said it to y'all. I said, man, I'm about to turn 50. I want to be right. And I'm right now. I'm definitely right now. I got a little. What's it called? It's called gluten gut. If I don't eat no gluten,
bread.
Yeah. If I don't eat no gluten, I got that pack. But if I eat a little gluten, you can't see it.
But how much has it helped you? Because, like I said, man, and I don't want to keep saying you're 50 because you don't look 50, and people are gonna say, "Well, he ain't 50." But
I'm 50.
Yeah, being 50 years old.
Me.
Yeah, but being 50 years old, not looking 50, and I'm sure not feeling whatever in the world tells you 50 is supposed to feel like. How much has it helped your business? That's the first question. And then second question is, now that you're in the shape that you want to be in, has that made your 5-year plan change? If it hasn't, it hasn't. But has it?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I knew before I started working out. I knew if I eat different, I'm gonna think different. I knew if I work out, the cells and stuff in my body is going to shape up where I'm gonna look better, and I'm gonna be more confident by that. And then I also know right brain, left brain. If my subconscious allows me, these are things I already knew. If my subconscious, I'm thinking about something, then my mind is going to give me the thoughts I need to either make that happen or fight against it. And so within discipline, with eating right and actually keeping myself and being organized about how to make those things, how those things work, it just made me stronger in knowing I don't want what's going to take me away. And so it just started working my body started working like a well-oiled machine. and I needed that. I needed that. And like you say, when I started out, I had some goals and I had some plans that I'm still working on, and it's working. But I needed to have the energy to make that stuff happen. And the
Makes
gym,
a difference,
yeah,
man.
and the gym, y'all did that for me. I tell everybody.
You did it for yourself.
No, y'all did that for me because look, if you notice when I'm like, yo, this Charlie and Joe, everybody know who y'all are.
Yeah, man, you definitely just were like this show.
Yeah, it's Charlie and Joe. Oh, from the gym?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the right there. Yeah. They the ones I'm mad at for an hour the whole time. Yeah. But when I come out of there, I feel great. And yeah. But I said all that to say, when I first met y'all, and I said it before, I looked at y'all like, you know what? I'm gonna spend mines, what I got, into what theirs is. Because older guys never did that to me. They never was like, yo, whatever I got, I'm gonna submit that to them. That ain't always money. It's knowledge. It's understanding. It's failures. And we ain't sitting around, and I don't sit around and act like, oh man, let me tell you this because I know this, that, and other.
Yeah.
We just got cool.
Yeah, I agree. Genuinely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just got cool. If a question came up, all right, that's cool. I started picking on Charlie first, like, hey, man, what you got going on, man? What you got going on? Charlie would sit down and answer, and then here you come chiming in. You know what I'm saying?
But it's funny that you say that because, like, one of the best things, and this is, it might sound stupid, but at the time, I'm glad I heard it. You was like, man, you have to be able to, because me and my brother used to think, man, we got to write everything off, we need to show a loss. No, you got, I never forget you was like, yo, you have to be able to show that this building is making you money in order to get out of it. Yeah, it was like an instant shift. And I don't know if tell you appreciate that, but it was like an instant shift to like, I remember we was writing off, we would got a donut.
Yeah.
Just dumb stuff. Like, you name it, we was just writing off, like trying to act like we just spending so much money. And then I learned actually from you, then I went and started doing my own research. I was like, we're trying to expand.
You guys
we ain't going to expand.
Yeah.
Showing
like
we got
no money.
So with you saying that, I do appreciate that. And there's a bunch of other things, but I remember that was like the first thing that made, just to be honest with you, made me start listening to you. And I was like, I'm doing this wrong. And I ain't asked this man for his opinion at all. And his first thing, but seriously, because sometimes I pray and I believe that, like, I'm answered sometimes, and I think it's a little weird of a way.
Right.
But like, that was the first thing that you said. Like, the first thing that you said that really stuck was like, nah, you got to be able to, in order to get out of here, you got to show that you're making money. I'm like, that goes against everything that I'm doing. But I'm going to listen because at the end of the day, you're more knowledgeable than me. So.
Yeah. And I'm telling you how I found out. My client said to me, I said, man, I got this tax bill, I got paid these jokers all this $1,000, blah, blah, blah. She said, oh, why ain't you happy that you made the money?
Yeah. Because it's humbling to have.
Yeah.
It pisses you off.
I'm mad as hell.
Yeah. But like you said, you got to kind of look at it that way. You got to look at it that way.
You
gotta look at it
grow,
like, I can do it,
Yeah, you trying to grow.
Yeah.
So pay the money.
Yeah. It's hard to
No, it's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
But it's hard if the number is something you didn't anticipate.
Let me tell you what I learned. Because I feel like that too. I learned it's easy because now on paper, I got a real low DTI. My DTI like maybe single digits. When I get to that what is it with the LTV? Your loan to value. That joint like, oh, we way up here, we can spend it, but we ain't spending nothing down there.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I said that is a good way to say it.
And you got income. So if I decide I'm gonna take my whole family somewhere, we going to Seattle. Come on, mom, grandma, kids, everybody, we all going. Then we gonna treat them. Man, we successful.
It's a good way to think of it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the goal. So I agree with you.
Yeah, that's it.
It took some time to get to that point.
And you ain't gotta have a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
You gotta have good management. You gotta have a candy.
Yeah.
You gotta have candy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But again, when you don't know,
When you don't know, you don't.
You in your head like.
But when you're around people that's poor,
yeah,
you gotta get around somebody that got way more than you, and they gotta call you a nigga.
yeah.
And nigga mean you ignorant.
Yeah.
It don't mean your color skin, your skin.
Yeah. That's they want you to think it means your skin.
Yeah, no, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, well, what is it that I gotta know? Cause I'm burning up over here. I'm going downhill fast. And something gotta stop.
So being in business 26 years, right? I do have a question. What habits do you have habits of success? Yes or no? Well, you can answer that question how you want.
I don't know. I guess.
Outside of being a hustler.
I don't know what they are. Definitely hustle.
Yeah, the hustle is the best one.
Yeah, definitely hustle.
Yeah.
I want it. But you know what? Let's not use the word hustling. I got a lot of faith, man. I believe, and I've learned how faith works. I got way more of that than I ever had anything in life. Because most of the stuff I got now, I don't know how I got it.
Mm-hmm. Faith, like you said?
Yeah, I don't know how I got it. And I ain't one of them ones like God said it, God did it, God. I live like that. But I think people kind of quirky. So when you start talking like that, people start looking at you like,
They dissing themselves.
Yeah.
They
Either or. And it's just like I told a young boy one time. I said, listen. I said, I don't know if I can subscribe to what you're doing because I don't see no God in your life. And he was like, what you mean? I said, anybody who got God in life is working on something. Them a guy working on something.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, everybody gonna see it. So
I agree.
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
100%.
Everybody gonna see that. Look, that's why I don't fool with church people. Because I know you hallelujah, you thank you Jesus, and you all that, but I don't see jack you got going on. What's your relationship look like?
Mm-hmm.
Relationship got evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'd rather go over here.
Tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I'd rather go over here and hang with these niggas in the street because they at least got something
Know what they
going
up
on.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they working at it.
Yeah. Whether it's good or bad. Yeah.
They trying it, and it's an evidence, so it rains on the just and the unjust. How I was taught. So I'm gonna just hang with the ones that's trying to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about if you in church every Sunday or not in church every Sunday. Let them deal with that. If God gonna put me in hell after all of this, I guess I'm gonna be hot. But I think He gonna bring me up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cause look at how I was living.
Yeah. I'm with you.
That's kind of how I feel.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? I don't think my pastor gonna like to hear me say that, but it is what it is.
It might get edited out, so I ain't gonna be in there. So, I have a question for you, and you kind of already answered it, but at the same time you didn't. Just want to change pace for any young entrepreneurs out here listening. And I don't want to say speed questions, but give some questions that a person might, have. Somebody pursuing their passion or purpose, right? Doing hair, passion or survival?
Both.
Why?
Because my passion made room for me to be able to survive.
Things you would never, on a business wise, do again.
Trick my business.
I know what you mean. I ain't gonna answer what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's exactly what
I know what you mean. Things you had to learn faster than, because you're not living with regret, but things you had to learn faster than you wanted to learn.
Discipline my money.
Elaborate on that one for me, please. Just listen a tiny bit.
I had to make sure that I kept every dollar accounted for. Okay, I can't go to McDonald's with my business card.
How long did that take? Be honest.
It took years.
Yeah, cause that one, me and my brother, we never got into it, but that one we both also had to learn too. Cause it's like you just look at it as money there. But the reality is, once you spend it and you ain't accounted for it, it's like you might just burn it up.
Yeah, you might burn it up, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
How do you deal with fear and doubt?
Man, I talk about my wife. Talk about my wife. I pray about it, and I just face it.
Favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Oh man, the people, the relationships.
Hardest, but
And that's what I love the most.
Hardest part about being an entrepreneur?
Doing it.
And my favorite question, this is the one I've been waiting. And you're gonna have to elaborate on this one, but I'm curious. How do you set? Because alright, so I don't know how many hair salons there are between here and my house, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just going somewhere with this. What sets you, your business model, whatever that sounds like, your stylist or whatever, what sets y'all apart? And this is specific towards what you do. What sets your industry, your building, your salon apart from the rest?
I own my building cash.
That's what sets business-wise.
Yep.
Right.
If you talk to,
That's exactly.
if you talk
definitely
to,
sets you apart.
yeah, if you talk to 10 salon owners, you probably find one more that actually own a building and don't have no note on it. I don't have no note.
I know I can name a million, but give me two advantage of that and what that does for you. I won't say comfortability-wise, but what does that do for you? I can think of one right now, but give me two things that does for you that is a reason why that sets you apart.
Financial freedom.
Yeah. That's the one I was gonna say, because you don't gotta worry about paying you gotta worry about paying your bill, but you know what I mean. You don't have to worry about.
I pay me now.
Right.
Instead of paying everybody else, I pay me, and I pay me like I would pay them. I come to work like I would work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I would do for the slave owner, I now do for myself.
How? What? That's dope. That's dope. And then give me another one.
Or what's it?
I can go on and on about.
Oh, what we talking about?
Yeah, no. I can go on and on about. That too. But I can go on and on about the advantage of having, like, you have $1 million house, you don't own nobody.
Yeah.
You mean pretty much you free up a lot of mental space when just saying like I own this. So even if I want to go borrow from equity and do this, if I ever get in the jam, I'm good.
You good.
Yeah.
But you usually won't never really be in a jam if you own something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because your money just automatically do what it's supposed to do.
If you treat it right.
If you treat it right.
Why do you feel the need to help others?
Oh, man, yes.
And why do you think, here's my, because you've been around a little bit longer than me, here's my last speed question. Why do you think more men and women of color, it's kind of like, I don't want to say a trend now, because I ain't trying to disrespect nobody, but why do you think people do not chase this entrepreneurship? Mm-hmm. Personal opinion. Or you met somebody that can give you reasons why they quit.
I think that only the strong survive. When it comes down to, I'll give you a quick one. I just said it to my son the other day. I used to say it to young boys all the time. Yo, if I walked up to you and punched you in the face right now, what you gonna do?
Hopefully fight back.
Yeah, you and Joe you and Charlie Charlie gonna stop the fight. And you gonna want to fight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I just sucker punched your brother. Now, if you got a thought in your mind about, okay, I can make donuts. Oh, but I can't sell them. That thought just punched you in the face.
Yeah, I agree. I never thought about that neither. I'm gonna use that when I talk.
Yeah, that thought just punched you in the face.
I'm gonna steal that.
So, now you're a punk? I punched you in the face, you big and bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That thought punched you in the face, kicked you down, and smacked your mama.
And you ain't did.
And you ain't did nothing.
Yeah, I like that. I never heard nobody put it as simple as that is. I never thought of it that way, because for people that out here don't understand what he's saying is when it gets hard,
you quit.
Yeah, you didn't sign up to quit. And I think but my personal opinion, I think me knowing what I know now, I think when hard times comes, makes everybody say, all right, this is enough. When the reality is, I'm going to tell you this, and you would definitely agree, everything that I thought was hard, I got through it.
Yeah, I got one better for you. You know, I just learned this in 23, like maybe January of last year, because I'm always kind of learning. Yo, the old head said to me, he said, listen, you see yourself trying to do something, but you don't realize that's a place and time that already exists. You just ain't got there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's dark, and you can't, it ain't nothing in you that can get you to that place. You got to follow in your spirit. And I was like,
That's real.
That's real.
Yeah, that's real.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what we talk constantly. It's a place there. But you gotta constantly follow. You gotta hear and you gotta follow what you hear, and it'll take you right there.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
And I agree 100%.
Yeah, because your mind constantly telling you different stuff. Like, oh man, she's beautiful. Oh man, I can't go mess with that. Oh, leave her alone, leave her alone. But she just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I gotta look what the hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Real.
Now I gotta make some decisions.
That's real. I like that. You stood out one too.
Man, take them all, man.
But any last words? I really appreciate you coming out, man. I had fun.
Man, I love you.
I had a good time talking to you, man. And I'm glad I talked to you. Because somebody...
You don't talk to anybody.
You know why, though? I find out people like to waste your time. And I think every time you waste, you could have done something else. Like my dad said to me, he said, if you ain't tired, you ain't working. You ain't working hard. I never understood what he meant until I actually started working a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I'd be going to bed, I'd be tired. Yeah. But I never put it together. So if I'm wasting time talking to somebody who ain't talking about nothing, I'm either gonna slide off. I just can't talk to them. So that's why people think I'm mean. I'm like,
you say that all the time.
I ain't trying to talk about nothing stupid. People don't understand it though. Like if you ain't got nothing to talk about, let's not talk.
Stop talking to me.
Yeah, yes sir. But you got any last words, man?
Man,
Anything you want to leave these young entrepreneurs with? Anybody striving to be successful or by themselves?
Now, I would say, for me, just put God first. Whatever that means to you. If putting God first means that you want to be an entrepreneur, say what you want, think about what it is you want to do, and then find out how to do it. And then, because it's a map to everything. Mm-hmm. It ain't nothing new under the sun. If you want to make picture frames, there's a way to do it. You understand what I'm saying? You want to build a car, it's a way to do it. It may take a little longer, but it's a way to do it. Follow it step by step, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I can't end no other way, and I couldn't end no better way. Appreciate you. Appreciate talking to you, man. I'm serious.
It's a pleasure.
We have to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.